God has been training me for the throne since my childhood. If you were content to serve my Father and comply with His commandments and obey what He has written, then you should have no problem following what I say. You can try putting up a brave resistance, but it's not going to do much good. We are like a stampede of elephants. Once we start, you can't stop us or control us. And the closer we get, the bigger we get. And the deafening noise of our advance is enough to put fear in even the bravest man. Physically fighting against us is going to cost you your life. And the name you receive is not going to be an imperishable name, because you will be perishing to the flames of hell. What you would be doing is not sacrificing yourself for your people, but committing suicide for Satan. As you can see, I'm not wearing the shield of just anyone. I am wearing the shield of the High Priest and King, Jesus Christ, the Son of God. And the light that reflects off this shield is enough to light up all of God's holy mountain, so all can see it coming down from heaven and growing to cover the whole earth. It is a shield of royalty. The mountains of the world have been moved from their place, and I am flattening them into a plain to make room for God's new holy mountain. I will grant peace terms to you, providing believers and unbelievers separate from each other. Do not be one of those that desert God's holy place because of lack of food. We are at the part of the war where we must defend what God has established. We are to counter any move our enemy makes. If they assault us, we assault them. If they try to put a stop to us, we stop them. If they fire, we fire. Everything they do to resist us is going to be turned around and double used on them. I cannot grant peace to our enemies, because I know as soon as I do, they will start looking for ways to demolish the wall that separates us, and again try to abolish our faith. And it won't be long before they turn their attention to meddling in the affairs of God's kingdom, which will just cause us to get weaker every day. Catholics, you are going to have to inaugurate my reign in Jerusalem. That means you will have to leave Rome for a few days and come to where I want my throne, because Jerusalem is the royal residence of my ancestors. It is not in any other country. Any person who has an ambition to be confirmed a priest in God's kingdom must denounce democracy. No God-filled priest would ever preach such things as godless as government, which is without law and piety. You cannot really be a true believer and godless at the same time. As long as you support democracy, you will not be allowed in my sight, because you will be considered spiritually dead. Do not listen to anyone who accuses me of bringing wholesale ruin to this world, because if they accuse me of that or anything else like it, like I'm driving them from their country or killing their people, then it shows they are not a friend of the king, and they deserve the punishment they have received for being the wretches they are. You must refuse to assist them. I will never give orders to exact retribution from anyone but the true believers of God, which I hope they will be glad to give to God's kingdom. Any treaty made with the enemy can only be full of danger. If someone is not a true believer, do not give much faith to anything they say. Do not believe them or even try to reason with them. There is no trust or virtue in them, and any attempt you make an agreement with them or any oath they may make with you is only going to lead to you being injured, because it gives them a chance to wrong you. Remember, they are not your friend. This is the wrath on God's enemies. We no longer have to worry about the words of the scriptures talking about the bodies of the faithful being scattered and our blood being shed, but God's enemies do, since his vengeance is against them. If you want us to grant you peace, you need to disarm your forces. We will not bring together any commission to write up the terms without an understanding that this will be one of the conditions you must comply with. Because of all the wrongs in the world, God is going to take vengeance on everyone who has deserted him in the world at the same time. From now on, they will be prevented from going about and doing harm. His vengeance will continue until all who disturb the peace have been conquered, and all the true believers have rallied to God, and he has won control of the world. When the world has been returned to God, then there will be peace. I am a bitter enemy to those that oppose God. As soon as the number of my supporters grow, those that oppose us will be powerless to stop us. Anyone who makes malicious accusations against me, ridicules or laughs at me, tries to defile me, uses insolent language, or swears in rage to me, will be handed over to receive God's vengeance. In the lake of fire for their blasphemies, God will not show you mercy for blasphemy, his chosen one. Just like he won't tolerate blasphemy against his kingdom, or anything else called by his name. Because blasphemy shows you don't really revere him enough to be in his kingdom, and therefore will not be. In order for this world to be a safe place, I demand that all the armies of the world be handed over to me and disarmed. I promise you that you will not be part of God's house unless you do this. As long as you want to keep your weapons of mass destruction, you will be considered at war against God's children, because the weapons you have and the fury they cause are from Satan. God's weapon is his word. And if you are his children, then that needs to be your weapon. Hearing the trumpets sounding their warnings, and realizing that my hand is the hand of righteousness and not insolence. You in the military, so that you are not considered a fugitive, need to supply your support for us by throwing down your arms and leaving the military of the country you belong to. Because if we are ever unlucky enough to have to meet in battle, they are going to send you as a soldier, and you will be the first to fall. The angel of God is on our side, and we will crush your army. If you don't quit fighting for the beast before God passes judgment on you, you will receive what your wickedness deserves.